This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
So let's talk about Punk. We know that the big pipe bomb promo is going to come 4 months after this, in June. But in real life, he was frustrated with the way things were going. Did you have any idea that Punk was frustrated or upset? Was he becoming increasingly difficult to do business with, or did that all kind of catch you by surprise when you saw the pipe bomb promo and the direction they were heading on camera?
Well, I knew that was him expressing his real views.
Yeah.
It's too strong to not be.
Right.
And that's one of those things that I think that the brain trust said, let him go say what he wants. I don't know if they expected it to go that far, but I mean, they're still talking about it today. So,
but did you know he was unhappy here?
I did. I know he was dinged up and he was working hurt, and that bothered him some too. You know, he needed to get well. I know he wasn't happy for a number of reasons, but it was never one of those things, Conrad, where I sat down beside him and said, okay, what's bugging you?
Right.
I would just go by, see that he wasn't joking. He wasn't stretching out. He wasn't kidding around or anything like that. He would just kind of be wherever he was, kind of to himself. And I'd just ask him, everything, you all right? He'd go, I guess. And I wouldn't question it. That's a guy's personal space. If he wants to let me in, he would have said, hey, sit down, let me ask you something. But I knew something was going on because he was positioned well on the cards, right?
Well, I think his frustration probably is he wanted to be, and Lord, I don't really know him, but I think we've read enough and heard enough that he wanted to be the top guy. He wanted to main event WrestleMania.
Of course you did.
When you main event WrestleMania, you're the top guy. And instead, that honor goes to The Miz. And so the main event of WrestleMania that year was Miz versus John Cena. And I think Punk probably didn't have the same amount of respect for Miz that an outsider might, because Punk came up through the independents and Miz was a WWE wrestler, whether that's fair or right or whatever. But still, he was probably a little upset that he's sixth on the card working with Randy Orton and Miz is in the main event with the world title. Would you say that's a fair assessment of how he was feeling at the time?
I would say there's a lot of talent at that WrestleMania that were pissed that Miz was in that spot.
Yeah.
And when being in the match with Randy Orton is looked at as being mid-card.
Yeah, that's he's pretty
freaking stout.
Yeah.
And I mean, at any time and under any circumstances, to look at that as being a less than tells you something's going on in, somebody's mind. That during that period, it was like, I don't know. There was a lot of animosity around and a lot of people, that were trying to get over and move up in position. And when Miz was wrestling Cena, I just know that there were a lot of guys that felt like they had been in that spot, should have been in that spot. And if you didn't want to be in that spot, something's wrong with you. So I remember there was some tension here and there.
I want to remind everybody, we are going to be covering that WrestleMania. It's going to come your way on April 6th. So right before we watch this year's WrestleMania, we'll get to go back and revisit WrestleMania 27 from Atlanta. Let's also talk about something else that's not long for this world. The Chaperone. It did so little in its opening weekend of its theatrical release that the box office charts didn't even list it. Sort of like they did with Knucklehead. Meltzer would say they didn't expect to make money on theatrical releases and only do a few markets just to try and position it as something other than a straight to DVD release. Arn, what's your favorite movie from WWE Studios?
I watch shows because I love show, and it was entertaining. It wasn't going to win any Oscars. I thought Kane did a really good job on See No Evil. I think it was. Yep. As far as being a monster. again, like everything else, and it almost seems like a cop out. I didn't have any free time to be watching movies. And that's folks out there. It's not a cop out. It wasn't me being lazy. When you got a day and a half to 2.5 days home twice a month, watching WWE straight to video movies was not my idea of the way to spend the limited time I had. I'm sorry. No disrespect to the boys, but that's the way it was. So I didn't watch a lot of them.
I'm surprised you could name one of them. Not many people can.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.